refs winning. And for the first time in history, the refs actually win.
For the love of Jeebus, okay? What's happening? Just kidding, we know.
It's a nice venue.
What?
It's a good venue. I like it.
This is, yeah. We use this venue for Mayday because we were using it at our like facility, but Mayday got so huge that we couldn't fit everybody. So
Totally.
yeah, yep. But it was still ran over the course of 3 days. Except it started in the afternoon, but then once it got huge, we had to find a bigger place with 2 tracks.
The floor looks pretty slippery though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of glad we're not playing, but then again, I'm like, I want
Oh,
to
why
be
aren't you
playing.
guys playing? Just because it's too much work? Or?
Mostly we're not playing because the last year that we played, we got our asses kicked. So we decided to sit out this year, which I think is stupid because we're fucking hosting. Either way, like, I don't know. But whatever. Oh, okay. Should I not be cussing or can I just keep cussing?
Please don't cuss.
Okay.
Can they hear you?
Well, I don't know. They said we're live.
Maybe I'll just.
Sorry.
I'm just gonna mute them until we start.
That's fine.
Well, I cuss a lot, unfortunately. So I'll try to tone it down, kind of.
Bring it down about 10 notches.
Yes.
I mean, even this time has cusses. But they said we're live, so I don't know if you want to start talking. No, just
No.
kidding.
Hells no. Not until there's actually people.
Until there's actually stuff happening. Here, I'll just put it on the door. There.
All I can see is the
Wait,
view.
that's the...
I see the view
Yeah.
from over there somewhere?
Yeah,
Over
I was
there.
just trying to make sure. But the other camera, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other camera.
Yeah. I can see you.
Yeah, but you can switch. I thought you could switch on there.
I don't know. I'll let Missy do all of that.
Oh, okay.
I'm just here to talk.
See? The song's bad. My eyes switching. I never said I'm getting money. Just know I made it.
This is gigantic. This thing is gigantic.
Hi, Lindsay, or Phantom Names.
What? About now? Whenever they're
It's supposed to be at 8, but they're doing the national anthems over there and then starting pretty quick. She's on the house call. Phantom's on the house call. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, here they come. They're coming. All right.
Perfect. This thing is huge.
So they were playing the anthems, and then they said they were going to play the United Kingdom anthem.
Yeah.
But they played God Save the Queen.
Oh,
That's not the anthem.
is it not?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't know. It was God Save the Queen.
The only one I know is the Canadian one. Well, and the US one. Everyone knows that one. Google it.
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I just know the song. We'll sing it at every Legion Hall gathering.
All right, everybody, we're back.
They're muted right now, but
There.
they're muted right now, so if you want to get started, I'll just follow your lead since you've got way more experience than I do. This thing is huge.
You're all right. All right, ready? We're going live.
Yep.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to coverage of Track 1 at the 6th May Day Mayhem Invitational Tournament here in Loveland, Colorado. My name is Ms. Communication.
I am Mamacita.
And we are here for the Oklahoma Victory Dolls All-Star Squad versus the Undead Beaties out of Antioch, California. And, of course, Oklahoma City out of Oklahoma Victory Dolls out of Oklahoma City. Forgive me, I'm a little breathed. We sang 4 national anthems this morning.
Wow.
Australia, UK, Canada, and the United States. We are getting started with the first jam of the game underway. You're going to have to forgive us as announcers. We are facing the jammer line, so once we know those jammers, we will certainly let you know.
It looks like Trigger is up for Oklahoma and through for lead.
Trigger is out, and lead jammer fighting in the pack. We've got number 86 with the Star Stash in hand from the Undead Beaties. That's Ivy Creepin, and she is out and ready to score. Trigger goes ahead and picks up 3 points. Calls off the jam, and that, folks, is the first jam here on Track 1. We are here all weekend. Thank you so much for throwing down your money to hear us broadcast.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great weekend of roller derby here in lovely Colorado.
In lovely Colorado, yes, lovely Loveland, Colorado. Second jam in play. We've got 2 jammers on that line. Right now the pack stalling off of the jammer line. Oklahoma out there in black, Undead Beaties in their traditional neon green and purple.
Very traditional.
It is. It's very traditional. They've been wearing it since they were founded in 2008. Out in front, that is number 46 for Oklahoma, Fatal Inferno. Your lead. She is jamming against number 5, Rebel Vixen.
Rebel does get through.
Right now, Fatal fighting her way up at the top of the pack. Oklahoma right now doing a really, really good job of severing the Undead Beaties' defensive wall that they have built, making them, less effective in their defense.
Absolutely.
2 more points for Fatal brings us to a score of Oklahoma Victory Dolls 5, Undead Beaties 0 right now with 27 minutes left in the first period.
Now, score sitting at 5-0, but Oklahoma is the higher ranked team coming into this, so this is kind of expected at this point. I'm kind of excited to see what the Undead Betties can do being ranked 92 while Oklahoma being ranked 65.
Breaking free, that's number 14, T-Pain in the black for Oklahoma Victory Dolls. The Undead Betties losing number 8, Darth Shannonigans, to the penalty box.
Number 76, Darth Shannonigans. I'm sorry, Dutch Crunch is jamming.
Number 76, Dutch Crunch for the Undead Betties. She is still on her initial pass. We've got a 5-point grand slam.
Absolutely, but there was a star pass or cap pass to number 222, Floozy, I believe is her name.
T-Pain goes ahead and picks up another 3 points, 8-0 in that last jam. We've got an official timeout being called. Timeout, official review. Timeout, official review. All right, so we are sitting here at 13-0, 26 left here in the first half. We've got an official review being called, an official timeout. Everybody in the center. Phantom Menace threw me off in-house, folks. I'm sorry about that. It's all her fault. So Oklahoma Victory Dolls, of course, this is their second appearance here at Mayday Mayhem. They played at Beach Brawl this year and lost to Newcastle, their first other European matchup by a small margin. Oklahoma Victory Dolls looking to take home a belt. We are giving out a belt. A belt for the men and the belt for the women.
Beautiful.
It
I
is.
want the belt.
Everyone wants the belt. Jam is underway right now. Oklahoma taking a kind of frontal mode with the pack, looking to embrace Ivy, number 86 for the Undead Betties. Right now, Undead Betties defense trying to hold on to 21-20. Emma C. Hammer, but Emma is out and lead. Right now, lead jammer status belonging to Oklahoma Victory Dolls here in the first half. Emma gets knocked to the outfield by number 133, Banshira. Steps in after Banshira backs up, and that, folks, is going to be our first power jam of the game.
And it also is going to put the Undead Betties on the board, as this is a scoring pass. There we go, 5 big points scored by number 86, Ivy Creepin.
Ivy Creepin takes a juke around number 8, Whoopsie Daisy, with the pack at the back right now being signaled. The pack is to the rear, the pack is to the rear. And so with Emma released, though, Ivy managing to get another pass out of there. 5 points, 10 power points for the Undead Betties on that power play. Emma back in from the box. She was probably sitting on some points going into the penalty box. Yes, so we've got 4 points for Oklahoma. We're going to go the remaining 17 seconds of this jam. Oh, big slam into the pack, and yep, that was a back block.
Absolutely, so another power jam for the Undead Betties. Number 86, Ivy Creepin putting up some points. And now, I mean, look at the score, right? This is very, very good for the Undead Betties. For this game, it looks like they're going to need about 36% of the points to maintain their current rank. So anything above that is gravy. And right now, they're definitely beating that ratio.
Is it because you're from Canada that it's gravy? Is that a poutine reference?
We love our poutine.
And the rest of it is gravy on French fries. And on mozzarella sticks. And on toast. Undead Betties with a power start here for this jam. Number 21-20, of course, boxed in the penalty box for Oklahoma Victory Dolls. That's MSC Hammer. Anchoring this jam, and your lead jammer, that's a number 5, Rebel Vixen. This is the first lead jammer status that the Undead Betties have garnered in this game.
And is now scoring points.
Now, potentially there will be a lead change coming up here as she is on her scoring pass. Jammer for Oklahoma is still on her initial pass now that she is out of the penalty box.
Full 5 points up in the air for Rebel Vixen. 20 points now for the Undead Betties. MSC Hammer has been in for a few seconds here. Sita, I think what I would probably do here is hand off that star to avoid going to the penalty box a third time.
Absolutely. It gets in your head. I mean, as a player for many, many years, when you're, in the penalty box twice in one jam, it can definitely mess with your mojo.
Oklahoma losing number 27, Jade Shark, to the penalty box, and we've got another 4 points on the board for Rebel Vixen and the Undead Betties.
It looks like Oklahoma has lost 2 blockers to the penalty box, leaving only 2 on the track, which is nice for the Undead Betties jammer.
MSC Hammer right now with the star in hand, trying to get by that defense right now, anchored at the top by Sugar and Spice. And Rebel Vixen breaks free. There's another 5 points for the Undead Betties out of Antioch, California.
And another Oklahoma blocker in the penalty box for a multiplayer block.
We have 1 blocker out on the track right now for Oklahoma.
I've got to say, that is the worst feeling as a blocker, to be the only one out on the track for your team.
Another 5 points on the board for Rebel Vixen before the end of that jam. That was a 19-point jam for the Undead Betties. They go ahead and take the lead, 34-18. So 34-18 right now, Undead Betties on top, and something gravy.
All the gravy.
Hashtag all the gravy here at Mayhem 2016. We never did come up with a hashtag for you to talk to us.
Well, all the gravy sounds good to me.
Mayhem 2016, hashtag all the gravy. Hit that up and we will we'll see if we can get you some shout outs here later in the game. Hashtag all the gravy. We've got a team timeout being taken by Oklahoma.
Definitely a good time to take a timeout. I mean, two power jams within the same jam. The lower ranked team outscoring you almost by double at this point. So definitely a good move by the coach there, taking a timeout, calming down his players.
We're going to go really fast here since we didn't have time before the game. Let's go ahead and go through our roster of who is on the each team's bench for this game today. For the Oklahoma Victory Dolls, the All-Star squad, they're ranked 65th in the WFTDA. We've got 13 Lexus Chainsaw, 14 T-Pain, 1965 Cha-Cha Cherry Bomb, 2120 is MSC Hammer, we've heard her before. 27 is Jade Shark, 28 is Lethal Lamb, 3 is Brittany Betch, 300 is X-Ray, 40 is Poly Punching Pocket, and 42 is Scar Bomb, 45 Sheer Illusion, 46 is Fatal Inferno, 50 is Tigger Trixie, 5446 is Trenchtown Rockette, 6 is Rachel Coffee, 777 is Des Dispenser, 8 is Whoopsie Daisy, 82 is Menace, 85 E-Bomb, and 9 is Coffee Grinder.
And you know what? We're getting rolling here, so I will go through the Undead Betties roster on our next time out.
On our next time out, indeed. We've got a multiplayer block being signaled for an Undead Betties blocker, and number 50, Trigger, out and lead.
And a cat pass to number 31, So Evil. Trigger already through and scoring 4 points.
Right now, Oklahoma choosing to keep the clock running. Big risk on their part, as So Evil has actually already picked up 1 point from the penalty box.
All right, and another
5 points going up for Oklahoma. At this point, I believe they're running it just to, for their rank. They need to score 59% of the points, like I said earlier, and right now they're well below that ratio. So.
And we've got a penalty being assessed to So Evil. My apologies, I did not see what that penalty was because the jam ref was so close to his standing position. But we do have her going to the penalty box, and this is a power jam and another 5 points for Oklahoma. Another strategy used when you run that clock is also in hopes of getting the other jammer to pick up that penalty.
Absolutely.
Bam.
And it worked. Bam,
Just
indeed.
like that. It was like I was a famous chef just then. Stymieing in the pack. We've got another 2 points. She calls the jam. We've got 16 points. Sorry, I missed another 3 there. 19 points total for Trigger and Oklahoma, so Oklahoma now taking the lead. 2 lead changes thus far for those of you that are keeping track of that at home. We've got a 1-point game.
Math is hard, but this is pretty easy so far.
You know what? Barbie told me that when I was in 4th grade, and I keep trying. It's a battle every day. Math, it's a battle every day. Jam is in play now. And around the outside, that's number 46. That's a Fatal Infernal, your lead jammer. And with the cap in hand, that's number 86, Ivy, for the Undead Beaties. Right now, Fatal, though, on her first scoring pass up at the top of the pack against the Undead Beaties pivot.
1 more to beat.
Yep. Ivy, though, catching up to the pack. We've got lots of glamour and 3 points for the ladies in black, 0 for the ladies in green. 42-38 right now. Oklahoma Victory Dolls sitting on the answer. 18 minutes left in the first half.
So right now, Oklahoma's sitting at about 53% of the points. So they are working their way up to the ratio that they require to maintain their rank. But of course, the whole point of playing in a tournament is not just the fancy belt, but also to hopefully help your ranking.
Looks like that's number 20. No. Yeah, that's number 28, Lethal Lamb, jamming for the first time here in the first half for Oklahoma. She is jamming against number 5, Rebel Vixen.
And again, we apologize. It is really hard to see who the jammers are when we're in front of the action rather than behind it. So you'll have to bear with us as we muddle through that.
Rebel Vixen out and lead. This is the second time that the Undead Beaties have gotten lead, but Lethal Lamb is out and ready to score. But Vixen looking at that 1 point there, right at the back of the pack.
Beautiful.
Whoopsie daisy, great job by the Undead Beaties defense catching that goat.
Absolutely.
Or blocker at the back of the pack. I don't know why we call it a goat.
I don't
We've
know.
got goats,
I don't know
we've
where
got
that
lambs.
started, but
Yeah, well, you know, bah. So Lethal Lamb not able to pick up any points in that last jam. 3 points for Vixen and the Undead Beaties. 17 minutes left on that period clock, and we have a 1-point game.
I love 1-point games. Tie games are even more fun, but
So right now
so
it's
close.
the answer to 41. Oklahoma once again taking the lead at the top of the pack. We've got a high block being assessed to Undead Betty's blocker, number 8, Darth Shannonigans. T-Pain, number 14, your jammer for Oklahoma, and lead for this jam. With the cap in hand, that's number 76, Dutch Crunch. T-Pain up at the top of the pack. She's got 1 to beat, and the Undead Betty's building a bridge over a waterless stream. 5 points, though, for Oklahoma.
There we go. The Undead Betty's jammer is through on her initial pass, but T-Pain already through the pack, scoring more points and calling it off before Undead Betty's can put up any points.
You know, Dutch Crunch pulling out of that pack, not really speeding it up, but also keeping the cap in her hand. Kind of dangerous if you, because you are, you know, of course, an inactive jammer when that star is in your hand.
Yep, it needs to be on your helmet.
Oklahoma Victory Dolls are hosting the Sooner Skate Tournament later this month. So they're going to do a little double duty, doing some tournament work. Later this month, of course, looking for that cutoff date of June 30th. 51-41 right now, 15 minutes left in the first half. Oklahoma once again up at the top of the pack, just barely. We've got, of course, 2 brace blocking bits happening. We've got number 86, and that's Ivy Creepin for the Undead Betties.
Oh, beautiful work there. It looks like, I believe, I can't see the skater's number.
That is number 50, Trigger Trixie. She will head to the penalty box on a track cut.
So a power jam for the Undead Betties, and it looks like, again, Ivy Creepin is their jammer to take the star and get it done.
And lead was available. Ivy Creepin becomes lead jammer for the Undead Betties. Short prediction here. I think the penalty box may work in the Undead Betties' favor in this game.
Absolutely, penalties are always a factor, and right now, I mean, I can't see how many penalties, but definitely it's been more heavy on the Oklahoma side. And just as I say that, number 8, whoops, going to the penalty box on a direction of play penalty.
Yep, whoopsie daisy headed out to the penalty box, trying to trap that blocker, keep them away from their pack. Trigger out and ready to score now. 5 points on the board for Ivy Creepin. Ivy now in the pack, trying to tussle around. Betty's not really playing any offense for her. Trigger, though, coming into the pack, picks up 0 points. 4 points further for Ivy Creepin, 9-0 in that last jam, and we still have a 1-point game.
1-point game.
It's 5-1-5-0.
Seems to be the story of the game so far.
Someone call the po-po. I'm going crazy. Come on, I'm sure that guy is from Oklahoma. I really do. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like 75% of all country singers are from Oklahoma originally. So 51-50 right now. Oklahoma on top by a point. 13 minutes left in your half, and we are in the jam.
Oh, nice work there by Fatal, number 46, just avoiding the cut track and getting lead jam. Number 5, Rebel Vixen, still working her way past the front 2 blockers. She does get through on her initial. Meanwhile, Fatal coming through, putting up points.
Fatal going ahead and putting up 4 points for her team. 5 points, or right now Rebel Vixen, though, on a scoring pass, and according to my armchair referee eyes, she has passed the hips of at least one player. Looks like Fatal Vixen going to keep the clock running. Oklahoma using this strategy earlier, hoping that Rebel Vixen does not, Fatal Inferno keeping the clock running. Rebel Vixen picking up 4 points in that first scoring pass. Fatal goes ahead and pulls out of the pack, pulls another 4 points, calls off the jam. It's 13-4 in that last jam.
So risky move, but it seems to have paid off in that jam. Score sitting at 64 for Oklahoma, 54 for the Undead Betties, with about 12.5 minutes to go in the first half.
We've seen Oklahoma pull ahead before, 10 points ahead, and then and then Undead Betties kind of bring it back. It's
Within
kind of
1
like
point.
like a karma deal, right? Like the Undead Betties cashing in their karma. Jam is in play, and that is
Hard to see.
hard to see. Yes, sorry you guys. Tussling with that Oklahoma Victory Doll defense. That is number 76, Dutch Crunch, but out in front and lead. That's number 28, Lethal Lamb. Lethal Lamb right now lead as the Undead Betties lose number 333, Sugar and Spice, to the box. Brutality up there at the top of the pack. Oklahoma Victory Dolls laying it out against number 76.
Beautiful defense, but looks like one of the Oklahoma blockers heading to the penalty box there. So she does get through.
Likely a clockwise block. Dutch Crunch does get through. 3 points for Lethal Lamb. She goes ahead and 67-54 now, 13 points between these two teams.
Looks like Oklahoma sitting at about 56% of the points, so still not quite enough to maintain their current rank. So they do want to step it up just a little bit more, and hopefully they'll be able to do that in the second half. But
Oklahoma right now taking that premier top part of the pack. Undead Betty's jammer right now playing a little defense against the Oklahoma Victory Dolls jammer. That's number 14, T-Pain.
Ivy creeping through on her initial pass. Nice
T-Pain
work.
getting knocked to the outfield. Big hustle there by the blocker who knocked her out. That was number 333, Sugar and Spice from the Undead Betties.
Smart move by T-Pain dropping to her knees, though, because that definitely came close to being a cut track call there.
Right, scoreless jam right now, still 67-54. If you are just tuning in, this is our coverage of the 6th Mayhem tournament here, Mayhem 2016.
It's my first
It
Mayhem.
is your first. It is
I'm
my
excited to
fourth.
be here.
So we are all excited to be here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got 2 tracks and 2 rule sets of action for you this weekend. That's number 50, Trigger, for Oklahoma. She is lead. And with the star in hand, picking up a track cut, that is number 5, Rebel Vixen. This is the first power play that the Undead Betties have given up here in the first half. Trigger right now with 5 power points on the board. She goes ahead and splits through. Somehow, that was so evil, thinking that her teammate was a blocker. But right now, Oklahoma Victory Dolls stranding their jammer. They've got 10 power points right now with Ivy, I believe.
No, Rebel. Rebel Vixen.
Oh, right, Rebel Vixen. sorry. Rebel
They kind
Vixen.
of look alike, though. So.
Well, they're 2 people, though. They are 2 different people. Rebel
Absolutely.
Vixen with the cap in hand, engaging the rear of the pack here. Another 5 points on the board for Trigger. 15-point big jam thus far for
Beautiful
Oklahoma.
jam so far. I mean, this is more along the lines of what is expected in terms of where these teams are ranked.
Trigger picking up another 5 points as we're going to swap that camera view. We've got a star pass to 222. That's Floozy. Star pass was effective but did not garner any points. That was 27 points total for Oklahoma.
Huge
0
jam.
for the Undead Betties. Apologies, we have just had a score correction. That's 28 points for the Oklahoma Victory Dolls. 95-54, 8 minutes left here in the first half. We've got a team timeout being called for the Undead Betties. Now, Sita, you coach.
Yes.
So when you see a 29-point jam, what are you pulling your people into the bench to talk about?
Well, at that point, you have to regroup, especially when you've been maintaining such a close score with a team that's ranked higher than you. Sometimes the energy gets up a little bit too high, and you need to kind of reel everybody back in and get them calmed down, talk about what not to do and what is working.
And we definitely saw the energy kind of spiking there in that last jam with that friendly fire to move out of the way for the other team's jammer. So 95-54, clock stopped at 8 minutes. Of course, we have a ton of action for you today here on both of our
Absolutely.
tracks. So please continue to stay put. Your $15 or $10 is going to get well spent this weekend because we have basically a billion games.
And that's very, very little to pay for the quality of the broadcast and the caliber of play at this tournament. So.
Most definitely. We've got the jam underway now with that team timeout being expired. Both teams taking one of their timeouts. You'll notice at the bottom of the screen that we actually track how many timeouts the teams have taken. That hot pink one is for their official review. And then the little up and down trapezoids are the team timeouts. It's number 46.
Yeah, nice footwork by Fatal there, just managing to stay in bounds, picking up lead jam for her team.
She is jamming against number 76, Dutch Crunch. Fatal getting knocked to the outfield, goes ahead and calls off the jam. You know, the Undead Betties are super great at the knock out of bounds,
They
hoping to
are.
force the cut, super fast going backwards.
And Oklahoma's going to have to be careful with that. Right now, they're maintaining a pretty decent spread, which is what they need in order to maintain the current rank that they have. Again, 59% of the points required to maintain where they are right now. But of course, they want to do better than that.
95-54, especially, by the way, when you're ranked 65. 95-54 right now, 6:53 jam underway on the straightaway. You've got E-Bomb kind of forcing that brace. Some good shuffling there by the Oklahoma Victory Dolls, but right now their jammer up to the top of the pack. 2-2-2 being sent to the penalty box for the Undead Betties. That's 21-20. Emma C. Hammer out and lead.
And I believe this is Emma C. Hammer's first jam since taking those 2 penalties early on in the game. So
You, sir, are correct, except you are not a sir. 5 points for Emma C. Hammer right now. Dutch Crunch out, though, and ready to score. Both teams losing a blocker apiece to the penalty box. Emma C. Hammer up at the top, and she picks up a back block penalty. And we are going to go the remainder of this jam. Dutch Crunch that's number 86, Ivy Creepin, picking up 5 points. I didn't write her down on my little unofficial chicken scratch. Ivy up at the top of the pack right now with another 5 power points for her team. Oklahoma Victory Dolls gaining E-Bomb back from the penalty box. So we've got another point scoring pass with Emma C. Hammer headed in right now to the pack. We've got Ivy out, though, picking up another 5 points. This is a 15-point jam thus far for the Undead Betties.
Looks like the power jam is over.
Emma C. Hammer scoring 4 points for Oklahoma.
We are going the remainder of the jam as Emma C. Hammer was sitting on lead jammer status when she went into the penalty box. I'm sure she is now thinking, just don't get a penalty, just don't get a penalty.
Right, yeah, I mean, 3 penalties, which, I mean, in, 25 minutes of play isn't that bad, but considering she's only jammed 2 or 3 times, those penalties have got to be messing with her head a little bit.
Net game of 6 points for the Undead Betties in that last jam, 19-13 right in that jam. So we're at 73-108 with 4.5 minutes left in the first period.
Exciting game so far. Again,
still plenty of cliche for us to have a lead change.
It could go either way.
Yeah, well, it is anybody's cliche in Derby. T-Pain, number 14, out and lead for the Oklahoma Victory Dolls. And that's at number 5 with the star, Rebel Vixen for the Undead Betties.
Undead Betty's doing a really good job of, looks like we've got a penalty, a high block penalty being called on the Oklahoma Jammer. So now we have a power jam for the Undead Betties.
Undead Betties right now with another power play happening. That again is number 5, Rebel Vixen, putting up 5 power points for the Undead Betties. But right now, both lineups losing people to the penalty box. We've got T-Pain on her feet right now, ready to end this power jam for Rebel Vixen and the Betties.
T-Pain seems to be one of the stronger jammers for Oklahoma. Look at that footwork. Fantastic.
Pretty footwork there, and T-Pain is out and ready to score points. 5 points there for Rebel Vixen, and T-Pain looking to auto-tune Rebel Vixen right now. See what I did there? I'm so coy. Right now, Rebel's in control of the clock. Just call it, girl. Just
Absolutely.
call it.
Especially when you're the lower ranked team and you're behind in points. You need that time.
Well, at least you tired out the defensive line that was skating away from you. 10-0 in that last jam, 5 of those power points, 83-108, 240 on that period clock.
Goes by quickly.
This is, of course, the Undead Betties' first time at Mayhem. second time for Oklahoma. I had a great time calling for them last year. I'm seeing actually a lot of changes in their roster from last
Okay.
year.
I don't know much about either of these teams, so I mean, like I said before, the caliber of play in this tournament is going to be phenomenal, and I'm really impressed with both these teams so far.
That was number 50, Trigger, your lead jammer for that last jam. And for the first time, Lefty Loopsy was jamming for the Undead Betties, forcing that call off 0-0 in that last jam, 108.83.
Now, I know you
50.
can't see Trigger on the screen right now, but I can see her from where we're sitting, and she was really, really excited about that apex jump.
It was a pretty apex jump.
Yeah, it was really high.
Well, it is Colorado. Really high works two ways here.
Nice work there by number 86, Ivy creeping through for lead jam for the Undead Betties. And Fatal, number 46, out on her initial pass for Oklahoma.
Fatal Inferno out there and ready to score. Ivy Vixen, though, with one left to beat. That's number 777, Des Dispenser. She goes ahead and calls off the jam. Trace Pointalonis for Ivy.
Yep, 3 points picked up by the Undead Betties, leaving the score at 108.86 with about 50 seconds to go in this first half.
I believe it's pretty safe to say that this probably likely could be our last jam
I
of
would
the first
imagine.
half of the first game on track 1 of 2 tracks here at 2016 Mayhem.
Now, who is that jamming? I believe that is Lamb? Lethal Lamb.
It is Lethal Lamb in that hockey helmet, number
Oh.
28. She slides to the infield on our slightly slick concrete floor. She is jamming against a number 222.
Floozy, this is her
Floozy.
first jam,
This
I
is
believe.
her first jam as a jammer.
As a jammer.
Starting as
of course.
a jammer.
She's been blocking quite a bit, actually.
And she has received the star twice in 2 star passes.
Lethal Lamb already back in the pack.
This is an amazing bridge right now. Look at Love
Absolutely.
building that bridge between the front and back of the pack.
Oklahoma with really, really strong one-on-one blocking, so I guess it works to their advantage when they can bridge out like that and hold the jammer, you know, just with 1 or 2 blockers at the front of the pack.
Lethal Lamb picks up 3 points, calls off the jam, and we head into halftime here at Mayhem. Again, if you are tuning in with us, you are watching coverage live from Loveland, Colorado. Slaughterhouse Derby Girls bring to you 2016 Mayhem tournament here. We are on track 1. This is the Oklahoma Victory Dolls versus the Undead Betties. We're headed into halftime, 111-86. Oklahoma on top, these teams following to seed presently. I am Miscommunication.
I am Mamacita.
And we are going to go ahead and take a break. We will be back with some first half stats for you here in a moment.
Oh my God, my ears are sweating.
Oh yeah, that'll happen. It was awful last weekend at Thin Air Throwdown. Do you want us to be branding this?
Unsure. Check, check. Check, check. Check, check. It is not working. Check, check. Okay. I figured it out.
Absolutely. All right. Just keep talking. I can do that. I'm Chatty Cathy. I don't know if I'm supposed to be able to hear myself, though. I don't think so, since I'm muted. Okay, perfect. You can hear me okay? Good. That's what I figured.
Okay. For now,
Mhm.
instead of the mute button,
Okay.
can you guys just bring these?
Hello, folks. So we are back here at our live 2016 Mayhem coverage here in Loveland, Colorado. I am Ms. Communication.
Mamacita.
And we are going to give you, we're going to get you, first of all, let's go ahead and run through the roster real fast for the Undead Betties.
Right, we haven't done that yet.
Yes.
So, Undead Betties, we're going to start with 0, Bloodthirsty, a 114, Pixie Kicks, 133, Emma, 1949, Marilyn Monroe, 2020, Evil Eye Cherry, 203, Miss Slamthropy, 222, Floozy, 31, So Evil, 32, Lefty Loopsy, 333, Sugar and Spice, 40, Van Destroyer, 404, Mouse Click, 48, Evil Dead, 5, Rebel Vixen, 76, Dutch Crunch, 8, Darth Shenanigans, 86, Ivy Creepin, 99, Wheelie Hot.
Great, thanks so much, Mamacita. So looking at our last half's unofficial stats, I keep unofficial stats.
That's
These are all
beautiful.
chicken scratches on a
Beautiful.
piece of paper. Well, it's beautiful like myself. Hashtag Team Fabulous. Hashtag
All the
it's
gravy.
all the gravy. Yes, I am all the gravy. So we're going to go ahead and go with high-scoring jams for the first half. That was number 50 Trigger for Oklahoma with a 28-point
That's
jam.
beautiful.
And that was that garnered their only 10 power points was in that jam for Oklahoma. And we had a 19-point jam for number 86 Ivy Creeper there in the first half. 10 of those points power points. Power points actually telling a interesting story in this game right now. 111-86. Of those 86 points, 30 of them are power points, power jam points, points given up while Oklahoma's jammer was in the penalty box. Oklahoma giving up 5 power jams. 3 of those they were lead.
Yes, and 3 of those were also penalties by MSC Hammer.
That is correct.
Remember 2120.
We only have 1 trip to the box, or 2 trips to the box, sorry, for the Undead Betties. Definitely doing a great job of keeping their jammers out of the box. Lead jammer statuses, I want to let you guys know that when I keep lead jammer status, I do not tell you the lead jammer status if they have lost it. So 12 lead jammer statuses for Oklahoma in the first half, 5 for the Undead Betties. And we are underway here in the second half of this game, 111-86.
All right, and again, Oklahoma, the higher ranked team, ranked at number 65 in the WFTDA. Undead Betties ranked at 92.
Undead Betties in their neon green and purple, and Oklahoma in black, and that is a number 50
Trigger.
Trigger out and lead, but Rebel Vixen number 5 out and putting on pressure. Coming around the straightaway, we slam into the pack, pick up 3 points for Trigger, call off the jam. And that is the end of the jam, 3-0 for Oklahoma, 114-86. 29 left on that clock.
So Oklahoma, again, if you weren't tuned in for the first half of the game, needs about 59% of the points in order to maintain their rank of 65. They want to do better than that, of course. I mean, the cutoff for D2 playoffs is, well, for playoffs in general is June 30th, and they're pretty close to being in that area. So anything that
cusp.
they can gain would be advantageous right now.
Advantageous for Oklahoma. The Undead Betties losing number 8, Darth Shenanigans, to the penalty box. That's number 46, Fatal Inferno, out and lead, but right behind her.
I love seeing this.
It is. It's fun. They're playing a little tag on the track. We don't have the camera on it right now, but that's 86 Ivy Creeper. Ivy Creepin. 2 points there for Oklahoma, 0 for Ivy with all of that close play around the track.
That was a kind of a risky move for Oklahoma, considering they want to score all the points and leave the Undead Betties with none at this point.
Yes, but they also want to get rid of all the seconds.
True.
So
Also true.
it's a
Still
fine
lots of-
balance between
Absolutely.
all the seconds. Hey, that's funny because all the gravy, all the seconds. Yeah. So we are headed underway in our third jam of the second half. Big fighting off of the jammer line. Up at the top there, that's number 8, Whoopsie Daisy, kind of bracing that E-bomb in there also to help her with the pivot stripe. And they buy enough time for number 14, T-Pain, to make it through lead.
I believe we're going to, again, it's off camera, so you can't see it, but T-Pain, there you go, playing with the Undead Betties jammer, and I believe this is going to be something that we're going to see a lot of in this second half of the game.
And that jammer in green is number 76. The pack right now in pursuit to do a little nomming of the baby.
Unsuccessful, unfortunately, but I love it when that does work out. Again, it is killing time for the Oklahoma team, so it is working out to their advantage here.
T-Pain finding it on the inside, picking up 4 points, calling off the jam. T-Pain, one of those names that I actually recognized from last year's Mayhem tournament. And yes, my camera person is telling me that they almost ate the baby. And I'm just going to remind her that tech people stay on tech and don't get to talk.
All right, score sitting at 121 for Oklahoma, 86 for the Undead Betties. 26 minutes to go in the second half.
Slow start off of that line, as we are wont to see in Derby these days. And breaking free, that is a number 2120. That's MSC Hammer. Oklahoma once again taking a risk, putting her out there. She holds most of those power plays. And Floozy receiving the star, number 222. She received that from Rebel Vixen, number 5.
MSC Hammer calling off the jam. Picking up 3 points for Oklahoma, 0 for the Undead Betties.
124 to 86 right now, 25 minutes left in the game. How are the Betties doing with their percentage? They're doing well, right? They need at least a third to stick where they're at.
Yeah, they need about 36% of the points, so I can figure that out for you.
Well, it's that 86-124 is
I need
more
a
than half.
calculator. I am not good at math.
But that's more than half. It's more than
That is
62
true.
points. I'm good at greater than, less than. I knew where to put the nomming thingy when I was doing that. Right now, that is number 50, Trigger for Oklahoma's Victory Dolls. She is out and lead. We did have a star pass from...
Oh, nice move by Trigger. The Oklahoma blockers did a really great job there, using their pack advantage to block the Undead Betties blockers to the inside of the track. Trigger taking the outside of the track and scoring all the points, getting all the gravy.
Yep, that was Banshira receiving the star for the Undead Betties. We're going to apologize in advance to you Undead Betties and Banshira fans. We somehow had that miscommunicated to the referee crew, and so all of our rosters for this weekend are going to not have Banshira on them.
That's right.
So we apologize in advance. We will try and get on top of that, though. Out and lead, that is a number 46, Fatal Inferno for Oklahoma. She is jamming against a number 76, Dutch Crunch. Dutch Crunch slamming into that pack and breaking free. Activity here off of turn 1.
Fatal doing a really good job of bouncing around there and getting the Undead Betties blockers kind of scattered, spreading them out around the track and picking up all the points.
I think what we're seeing as well is that the Victory Dolls having a little bit more of an edge with that effective dispersal of the Undead Betties defense. They kind of just sort of stick in the center, and then the Undead Betties are all off on their own.
Absolutely.
And not as effective, of course, when you are by yourself.
Teamwork. All right, score sitting at 132 for Oklahoma, 86 for the Undead Betties. Oh, and it looks like number 14, T-Pain, off to the penalty box for a misconduct.
a misconduct penalty can be one of many things. About, I think it's 4 or 5 things. I unfortunately was scribbling when I saw that, so I am not sure what that.
And it's hard to see, to hear the referees from where we are. I mean, we see the misconduct call, but we can't quite hear what they are at all times.
That
so.
is Rebel Vixen, the holder of the high scoring jam last jam. Well, nope, that was Ivy. Rebel did put up a 19-point jam, though, last half as well. Undead Betty's right now in control of that clock. Rebel Vixen getting slammed to the infield by number 85, E-Bomb, but E-Bomb sliding out.
Absolutely.
So that's a no pass.
You
no
must
pass.
stay inbounds.
No pass. 4 power points for the Undead Betties as T-Pain is back in and ready to score. E-Bomb having a lot of issues getting heading out of bounds with hits, so we've seen her kind of re-entering often. 4 points on the board for T-Pain. Rebel Vixen keeping it running. There we go, that's why. 8-4 in that last jam in favor of the Undead Betties. Undead Betties notching 4 more power points against Oklahoma's Victory Dolls.
Yeah.
I hate to sound like a repetitive announcer, but Oklahoma has got to get their jammer penalty
Under
control
Yeah.
happening here,
Penalties
because
play such a big part in wins and losses.
that's 34 points right now. Right now, the Undead Betties could be at 60 points instead of 94.
Absolutely.
And in the danger zone, really, for taking over this game at 21 minutes left in the game. That is number 28, Lethal Lamb, out in front there and lead, but that's number 86, Ivy Creepin. She is heading to the penalty box on a forearm penalty.
So just as we were talking about penalties, now the tables are turned and Lethal is on a power jam.
Lethal is on a power jam. Undead Betty's losing Floozy, their pivot to the penalty box. We're going to cut around on the track. Lethal Lamb out. And she does pick up 5 points, 5 power points for the Victory Dolls All-Star Squad.
So prior to this jam, the Undead Betties were doing really well with their ratio. They were at about 41% of the points. So we'll see where they end up after this. But this is exactly what Oklahoma wants right now, picking up 5 more points on this.
Lethal Lamb picking up 10 power points on that last jam. Ivy out and ready to score. Lethal Lamb goes ahead and picks up another scoring pass. And we're going to see the clock continue to run. She looks at her bench, and the signal is given for the hips. 4 points. So 14 points for Lethal Lamb in that last jam, 150-94.
We've got about 19 and a half minutes of play in this game. 150-94.
So I apologize. We didn't have quite so many notes on the Undead Betties. I do remember when I was a announcer for the Ventura County Derby Darlings in California, we did travel up to Antioch to play the Undead Betties. And then I also traveled by myself to one of their games and called one of their games. So I'm seeing about half names that I remember, but it was 3 years ago. So
Right.
we've got number 50, Trigger, out there for Oklahoma and lead. And look at that, right around the outside.
Beautiful. Now that's a big credit to her blockers, of course, right? They're blocking the opposing jammer, but also distracting the other blockers enough for her to get through.
Dutch Crunch handing off the star to Banshira. They go ahead and call off the jam.
Yep, 4 more points.
What I observe, Sita, is that in most cases, the star pass does not necessarily result in points for the other team,
Right.
but certainly forces less points
Forces
for
the call, absolutely.
their foe.
And the Undead Betty's doing a really good job of removing the star cover pretty much as soon as they've lost lead. So if they can't get lead, they're removing that star right away and forcing the call sooner.
That's number 46, Fatal Inferno for Oklahoma. She is duking it out against number 5, Rebel Vixen. Vixen up at the top of the pack. Oklahoma building their pretty little bridge, but that bridge can only go so far. Lead jammer second time this half for the Undead Betties.
And then number 46, Fatal, right behind her. Oklahoma picking up the pace, trying to prevent points from going up on the board for the Undead Betties. And it works. 0-point jam. Nice work there by Oklahoma.
So it's an interesting thing here. We've got the Undead Betties bench coach using flags, red flag and green flag, to signal the jammer. And then Oklahoma just relying on hips and very nice bearded-looking men. So right? It's the
cannot go
bearded
wrong
men and the
with the
not
bearded men.
bearded. So we've got team bearded and team not bearded as far as our coaching benches are looking right now. So
Team Beard versus Team No Beard in terms of our bench strap.
All right.
we've
Undead
got
Betties
number
jammer.
86, Undead Betties, taking lead jammer status 2 jams in a row.
Beautiful.
That is number 14, T-Pain, also out and ready to score. Oklahoma, though, not speeding it up because we've got a trapped blocker, 5-4-4-6. Trenchtown Rockette, 2 points. And T-Pain does steal 1 point.
Yep, so all that work really for 1 point.
So if it's T-Pain, is it stealing or is it sampling a point at that point? Like, because it's T-Pain, right? So sampling a point from the other team,
Yes.
T-Pain.
Yeah. So score is sitting at 160 for Oklahoma, 96 for the Undead Betties. Undead Betties sitting at about 37% of the points right now. Again, they need about 36 to maintain their current rank, so doing really well.
That is number 76, Dutch Crunch for the Undead Betties, up against number 2120, Emma C. Hammer. I don't know, it's still my opinion that maybe she needs to sit for a while still. Dutch Crunch out. We've got 3 in a row. Lead jammer, Undead
Yeah.
Betties.
And Emma C. Hammer, again, very, very close to getting another cut track penalty there, so she's going to have to be really careful.
As the Betties begin picking up points. This is exactly what the Betties
And out in front, Dutch Crunch picks up 5 points. That is number 777, Des Dispenser, headed to the penalty box for Oklahoma. Dutch Crunch crunching into that wall, and that's a track cut.
Oh, yes, track cut, but Emma C. Hammer still struggling at the back of the pack there. Those Undead Betty blockers doing a really, really great job holding her back, tiring her out, recycling her over and over.
Emma finally handing the star off actually to number 82, Menace. Oklahoma ready to score. We have Phantom Menace in the house right now on the house call, so she's all, Menace, Menace, go, go, go.
Yeah.
And Menace does pick up 5 points there, 5 power points for the Oklahoma Victory Dolls. Emma C. Hammer headed to the penalty box as a blocker. As we go ahead and draw to a close on this power play, only 5 power points given up. And
Which is phenomenal for, a whole 30 seconds.
and then made up for as Dutch Crunch picks up 5 points coming out of the penalty box. Crunch
Nice
out
moves.
again. That was like a swirl around on the inside.
Attempting a call-off. I don't think you saw that on screen, but she did attempt a call-off and then realized, oops, I'm not lead. Just kept skating. It was very cute.
We've got 3 additional points for the Victory Dolls. 14-8 in that last jam, 168-110. So right now what we're looking at is with 13 minutes left in the game, we've got 58 points separating these 2 teams. That took me way too long to do that math. Right now what the Undead Betties are doing is playing for a higher rank.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They've got well
Sometimes a
more
loss
than
is a win.
30%. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Score right now, number 50, Trigger, is lead. She is jamming against number 5, Rebel Vixen. Rebel Vixen right now fighting at the top of that pack.
Nice toe stop work there by Trigger on the inside line. Squeaking through, getting all of her points. All of the gravy.
All of the gravy. Oh, Trigger's skate blipped out of bounds there for a second. It's too bad Rebel Vixen wasn't watching that. She could have totally
Absolutely.
fallen back. All it takes is just a little thrust backwards of the hips, right? 0-0 there in that last pass. 4-0 net gain for Oklahoma. 172-110. 12 minutes left in the game.
It's going by very, very quickly. Now, remember, we've got a full weekend of Derby. This is the first game on track 1. There's also a game going on track 2. So, you know, that $10, $15 that you're paying is going a long way for you this weekend.
That's a super smoking deal. Fight up to the top of the pack there. Oklahoma's pivot right now, holding it down. That's a menace, number 82 up against 86. Ivy creeping, and we've got a forearm penalty being assessed to Menace. Ivy out and lead. She is skating against number 46, Fatal. Fatal out and ready to score.
Calling off the jam. 4 points picked up for the Undead Beaties on that jam, 0 for Oklahoma.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the surface of our track. You guys will notice folks are kind of adjusting to, this is a cement track. It looks a little shiny on camera, but actually they have not polished the floor. It's not as slick as it was 3 years ago when we were all newbies here at
I remember watching.
Budweiser Event Center. So mostly, I feel, it seems to me, we watch teams adjust to the track and
Throughout
then
the
really
weekend,
not
yeah.
have any problems by about their second game.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the first game of the entire tournament, right? So it is going to take a little bit of adjusting, but most teams nowadays do skate on concrete. So, you know, by game 2 for each team should be nice and figured out for them.
That's number 14, T-Pain, with the lead jammer status. We've got 76 Dutch Crunch with the star in hand right now, fighting at the back of the pack there. T-Pain fighting her way into the pack on her first scoring pass. Undead Betties now having their pivot, number 133 Banshee Raw, return to the pack. 5 points for T-Pain. And we have a star pass to number 133 Banshira. Might actually be a pivot for a reason.
Ooh,
Perhaps she is a bench jammer for this game.
Oh, it looks like T-Pain is going to the penalty box for a back block. She came in pretty hot in that corner, slammed right into the back of the opposing blockers. So she will sit, and the Undead Betties will be on a power jam.
And once that penalty expires, only a few seconds are going to be left on the jam clock for T-Pain to make up any further points. Another 5 points, that's 10 power points for number 133 Banshira and the Undead Betties. Oklahoma losing a blocker to the penalty box with T-Pain on her feet right now, 26 seconds remaining in the jam. Banshira against Menace. We're looking for the recycle, but that's too far out. That's an out-of-play penalty being assessed to number 85, E-Bomb, and another 5 points right there at the end of that power play for the Undead Betties.
That was a big hit. It did tire her out quite a bit, but she got back up. She's back through scoring more points. That's 5 more
Banshira
points.
with another. That's a 4 point
4
there.
points.
So we've got 19-5 in that last jam, but we had some
Wow.
points being sat on. Yeah, 4 more points for T-Pain. T-Pain had points going into the box.
Yeah.
19 points for Banshira. I am guessing that Banshira is a jammer and is just not rostered as a jammer in this game.
I would think so. Just doesn't look like a blocker that's jamming, that's for sure. I've been that person.
Well,
that
but
is not
so
fun.
my guess is that we frequently go ahead and put a jammer as a pivot so that we can do a star pass effectively. Team timeout, by the way, being called for Oklahoma. Oklahoma needing to pull it in because, let's see, we've got 19, 23, 37 points in the last 4 jams
Wow.
for the Undead Betties.
Yeah, Undead Betty's up to 42%.
21 points for Oklahoma. So right now, the Undead Betty's really on a streak. Like, you know, we can see it here on my little unofficial scratchings. You know, you get here to about midway through, and so probably at about the 15-minute mark in our second half, and Undead Betties go 3 in a row. 1, 2, 3, lead jammer status, another lead jammer status, and then T-Pain headed to the box in that last jam on a back blocking penalty, allowed Banshira to take that star and run with it. 19 points in that last jam. That's the high-scoring jam for the Undead Betties thus far in the second half.
And yeah, again, the Undead Betties beating the ratio at this point. So, despite their, there's about 8.5 minutes left in the game. Whether they win or lose on the scoreboard, they're still winning at this point because it will help their ranking.
181, 133, by the way, and that's why math is better than voting, folks. That's why math is better than voting. 181, 133, 8.5 minutes left here in the game. Fighting their way up to the top of the pack is number 5, Rebel Vixen.
Nice work by the Oklahoma blockers, though, kind of cocooning her to the inside of the track, pushing her out, drawing her all the way back. So still no lead jam at this point.
She is jamming against Lethal Lamb, number 28, and Rebel Vixen through the pack twice. Lead jammer. I think I saw one time where I saw a jammer have to repass 7 times before she became lead.
Torture.
Right. Rebel Vixen getting knocked to the outfield by Shark. Undead Betty's unable to cage that defensively. We have a star pass to number 82.
Menace.
That is a palindrome star pass from 28 to 82. Menace
Sure
right
is.
now with the star for the Oklahoma Victory Dolls.
He's so smart picking up on that.
Rebel
4-point
Vixen
stop.
picking up a track cut finally. That Oklahoma Victory Dolls defense knocking her out of bounds.
This is
being
what Oklahoma
effective.
wanted at this point.
Exactly.
A
They've
nice sweep there by the Oklahoma blockers. Not quite getting Menace through, but definitely mixing things up in the pack, allowing her, I believe she's picked up all 4 points at this time, but not quite sure just yet.
Yes, as we are armchair officials.
Yep.
In strangely not quite comfortable padded chairs. Undead Betty's losing their pivot to the penalty box. And we've got Rebel Vixen on her feet. Only 5 power points here in this power play for Oklahoma.
Undead Betties have done a really good job for most of this game on power play defense.
2020 Evil Eye Cherry headed out to the penalty box for a high block. We've got 5 points additionally on the board for Oklahoma's Victory Dolls. Another 4 points for Rebel Vixen. So 14-4 in that last jam.
Score sitting at 195 for Oklahoma, 137 for the Undead Betties with about 6 minutes to go in the game.
And our jam is underway. We've got Trigger out, but not lead because of a no pass, no penalty. For those of you watching from home who may not know what a no pass, no penalty is, that is when a skater passes someone who is out of play, either because they are down or out of bounds.
Absolutely.
Undead Betty's 86, Ivy goes ahead and gets lead jammer status, calls it off.
Before any points could be scored. So nice move there by number 86.
I'm pretty sure because Trigger says tomato and Ivy says tomato, so she just went ahead and called the whole thing off.
5.5 minutes left in this game, in the first game on track 1. What is this? A pivot line start.
Oh, we've had many of those. Why are we so surprised? On
I
the
love them.
outside, that's number 46, Fatal Inferno. She is jamming against number 76, Dutch Crunch, who has the star in hand. It's like almost immediately when that whistle goes off, Undead Betties are taking that
Very,
cap
very
off.
smart.
So
Nice work there by the Oklahoma jammer, just kind of squeaking through, picking up 5 points on a grand slam.
Fatal Inferno looping around the track on her second scoring pass. And that is still number 76, Dutch Crunch, breaking free. She does still have the star in hand. She is ready to score, but Fatal, of course, out and picking up another 4 points in the meantime. Pack now speeding up faster than our camera can follow it.
Yeah.
They are going to leap tall buildings later today. Faster than our camera can follow, able to leap inches.
I did get it. I was busy scratching my ear.
2 additional points in that last pass. 1 point, though, stolen by Dutch Crunch. So a total there of 11 points for Oklahoma puts them over the 2-century mark, 206-138. Oklahoma on top.
So 4 minutes left in the game. At this point, I don't think the Undead Betties are going to be able to catch up. But again, sometimes it's not about the actual W. It's, about your ranking.
How are we on that 59%? Let's check that while Trigger is league jammer number 50 for Oklahoma. And she is jamming against, with that star in hand, that's number 5, Rebel Vixen. She's got 3 blockers up at the top. E-Bomb making a bridge. Oh, I get it. E-Bomb and her number is 85. Ah ha ha. And Rebel Vixen out and ready to score. But right now, Trigger working her way through the pack, trying to...
Calling it off
like,
from the ground.
It was like lots of legs and bodies.
I almost felt like she was stepping on one of her own players there, but
yeah,
again,
lots of legs and points.
Yeah.
4 points though for Oklahoma. 210-138. Let's what's that percentage running?
So Oklahoma prior to this jam was at 50 or 60% of the points. So they're pretty much where they want to be if they want to maintain their current rank. Of course, you want to do better than that, right? So they are going to have to pick it up just a little bit in the last couple jams here if they want to, help work up to a higher rank than 65.
We've got a multiple player block being assessed to number 2020 for the Undead Betties. Out in front and lead
T-Pain
is T-Pain, number 14. She is jamming against a number 86, Ivy Creepin.
Ivy Creepin going through and picking up points though. And a back block being assessed to T-Pain. Oh, but also I believe it was a low block penalty on Ivy Creeper. So one sits, the other one's released, and then a couple seconds later, the other one released. So it will be a full 2-minute jam.
When I up, down, go into the penalty box, puts me in the mood.
T-Pain working her way past the blockers on the inside there, through on her initial.
T-Pain out and ready to score. We're, of course, going the full 2 minutes of this, and we've got a low block being assessed to number 27, Sharp. Low blocks are going to be common on this floor while people get used to it because when you fall, you kind of slide a little bit.
Yep.
4 points on the board for T-Pain as we are in a race to the end of the jam. 40 seconds left in this marathon jam. Ivy Creepin hoping to avoid a track cut there. Fights up to the top of the pack. That's up against a number 777 Des Dispenser. They have to let her go though. 4 points for the Undead Betties. T-Pain right now stymied by the Undead defense.
Yeah, you haven't seen that very much in this game. T-Pain's been kind of a top-notch jammer for her team throughout the entire game, but she's looking pretty tired.
T-Pain right now on a scoring pass, however, has the star in hand. So is not
scoring points.
Presently a active jammer.
I think we mentioned that in the first half of the game. You want to put that star on. You want to score those points. So
5 additional points for the Undead Betties. Team timeout being called by the Betties. 4-14 right now on that last jam, but we've got some points talking happening here on Oklahoma. So
there we go. So 222 for Oklahoma, 152 for the Undead Betties. So now there may be a correction to that coming up pretty quick here, but that's what it's telling us right now. So, Undead Betties taking a quick time out there. They want one last jam out of this game to see if they can bump up the ratio a little bit. This will more than likely be the last jam of the game.
Score right now on that last jam, 14-12, 222-152. Apparently 4 points had been picked up by T-Pain before she removed that star. And so when she put the star back on, you can give the points.
All right, and Oklahoma sitting at exactly 59% of the points, which is what,
exactly the gravy.
Yeah.
Instead of all the gravy.
Not all the gravy, but
exactly the gravy. Just enough, like you're on Weight Watchers and you have to measure. And number 28, that is Lethal Lamb. She is lead. Oh, wait. What?
Oh,
We have a
forearm.
forearm penalty being assessed.
And I believe it was the OPR that actually saw it happen. So
Good call, ref. Good call.
yes.
So that's number 76, Dutch Crunch, finishing out this this game for the Undead Betties with 12 seconds left on that period clock. I am not sure if lead was inappropriately called or not. We'll see. Nope, it was
There we go.
inappropriately called. And number 76, Dutch Crunch, and the Undead Betties have control over this last jam of the first
Yeah.
game on the first track.
Now they're not really playing any offense at all for their jammer, which, you know, I guess they're focused on defense, but it took a long time for her to get through on that initial pass. Pretty much killed most of that power jam for them.
Yep, no power points for Oklahoma on that as Lethal Lamb is back in, and Banshira headed to the penalty box.
About 50 seconds left in this jam. The bench just yelling at her to call off the jam. She does call it off, picks up 3 more points for the Undead Betties, leaving Oklahoma with 0 on that one. So final score unofficially at this point, 222 for Oklahoma, 155 for the Undead Betties.
Forgive my silence, I'm
No.
counting on my scribbling. 4 power jams for each team here in the second half.
Now, while you're doing your math over there, I'm doing my math over here. And so Undead Betty's actually coming out pretty well in this game. They needed 36% of the points to maintain their current rank. They ended up with 41% of the points. So this is actually, despite the loss, helping them with their WFTDA ranking. So it is, you know, a win within a loss.
We've got that score officially declared, 222-155. Congratulations to the Oklahoma Victory Dolls. 25 power jam points for Oklahoma in that second half, 19 for the Undead Betties. We had 7 lead statuses for the Betties to 12 for Oklahoma. Just so you know, if someone loses their lead status, I do not count that as a lead status overall in the half. Folks, we have... we had a great game here. Of course, Undead Betties furthering themselves that way. Oklahoma, as the first seed, going to go ahead and march on with a 1-0 there.
And they did score exactly what they needed to maintain their current rank, which was 59% of the points. But again, Oklahoma kind of the real winner in the sense of the ranking. But, you know, Oklahoma coming out on top and moving on.
So what we're looking at here at our tournament, the Mayday Mayhem tournament, is the largest WFTDA sanctioned tournament that has a winner at the end. We are giving away a belt.
It's so pretty.
How our tournament works, you can go to us, go to our page on Facebook. Mayday Mayhem is the Facebook page because we used to be in May, now we're in June this year. Mayday Mayhem, you can pick up the bracket. We play a standard World Cup style tournament in that we have 4 pools, and we seed in 1 through 4 for each of those for the women's pool. For the men, there are 3 in each of the two pools. So
it's so rare to see a tournament like this nowadays. It's actually really refreshing to see somebody actually win at the end.
Right, so you've got 4 teams in each pool. They will play each other, so 4 games. That each team is guaranteed at least 4 games. The top 3 will continue on into the bracket play. So that 4th team does not want to, obviously you don't want to be eliminated from play. So what we're going to see here is folks will play each other for that win and to not be eliminated to go into the bracket. And then we'll go ahead and seed into the bracket. Seeding into the women's bracket starts tomorrow. Seeding into the men's bracket will be tomorrow morning, starts tomorrow morning. The men will play a slightly shorter bracket because they only have 3 per pool.
Right, less
So the
teams.
top 2 will continue on to play each other for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and also a belt.
Yes.
Because men have pants too.
I might have to ask them if I can wear it around the building.
All right, so we are going to go ahead and wrap up here. Once again, Oklahoma 222, Undead Betties 155. Coming up Oh, you know, I don't yet have a schedule here on this track. We will have a game coming up
kidding,
here
guys.
on track number 1. You are going to see the seed of the first seed for Pool 1 versus the second seed for Pool 1 here on track 1 coming up next. Once again, I am Ms. Communication,
I'm Mamacita.
and we will catch you later.
Thanks for joining us.